Marcus Garvey message to the people. Communism. Lesson 17. Communism is a white man creation to solve his own political and economic problems. It suggests the enthronement of the white working class over the capitalist system of the race. It conceived by white men who were in sympathy in the economic struggle of their own white masses. It was never conceived originally and intended for the economic or political emancipation of blacks, but rather to raise the earning capacity of the lower classes of the white workers. It was founded primarily on the theory of Karl Marx, who knew very little about the Negroes and who thought and wrote less about them. It is a dangerous theory of economics and political reformation because it seeks to put the government in the hand of the ignorant white masses who have not been able to destroy their natural prejudice towards the Negro and other non-white people. While it may be a good thing for them, it will be a bad thing for the Negroes who fall under the government of the most ignorant, prejudiced classes of the white race. The ignorant white man is cruel and prejudiced because of his ignorance. Therefore, you may see how dangerous it is the place to be placed in his hands by the very strength of his numbers, a government dictated and controlled by him. While the capitalist system is ruthless and bad, it is nevertheless gives the Negro a chance for employment competitive with the working classes of the white man for the purpose of extracting profit from labor, irrespective of the color of labor. The Negro, not being an industrial employer, shares, therefore, the opportunity to labor in competition with the white worker only because the white capitalist is willing to use anybody who can contribute the most to the profit of it to his industry, regardless of color. The capitalist white man is an enemy of the communist for the preservation of his own interests, if nothing more. If the Negro is not his own industrial employer and loses the goodwill of the white capitalist employers because he is a communist, he will find himself unemployed. That is just what the communist wants, so as not to have a black competitor. This will enable him to dictate the terms to the white employer and get his expenses of the unemployed Negro because he too is a communist. The idea of the communists inviting Negroes to join their ranks and to support their theory that our Negroes are communists too, and if a white employer has decided between a black communist and a white communist, by the appeal of race, the white communist will get his consideration and advantage. Therefore, the scheme coming from the white communists is to make Negro communists is a vile and wicked scheme. Communists have created their own party and organization in which they're international leaders. They are alone executive. They know the policy and designs of the Communist Party, which are kept for the Negro, for the purpose of fooling them into a sense of false security. When it is considered by all the outrages of war, mob violence, extreme punishment, having been administered to the Negro by the lowest class of white agents as soldiers of war, as sailors, and as the mob, the Negro should have no doubt that his greatest enemy is the common white man who does not have enough intelligence to know the injury he is doing to a race, even if he is paid to do so by his masters. All wars in Africa and the colonies where the natives have been shot down, punished, were carried out by the common white man in the ranks. In the lynching that occurred in the southern section of the United States of America, the mob has always been made up of the lowest class of the white race. No governor, state official, or major aristocrat has ever been found in the mob or leading the mob. The mob has always been made up of the common, ignorant people from whom the Communist Party are made up of and from whom the party is intended to give political power and economic advantages. The threat runs to Negroes out of Jamestown, PA, and the cotton fields of Mississippi and other sections of the United States where the threat that comes from the common white people. They serve as in those which state, nigger, don't let the sun come down on you in this town. It is common for white folk people in Clarendon, Wales, who in 1923 stopped the frontal possession of a dead Negro seaman, smashed into the coffin, cut off his head, and made a football in the street as a protest of Negroes being employed as seamen in Cardiff while white men went at work. In South Africa, East Africa, and Southwest Africa, it is the poor white colonists who practice the most wicked discrimination and persecute the natives to rob them of their rights. Everywhere it is the poor white colonists and the poor white man who carry the dirty work of the prejudice against the Negro. These are the classes of people from whom the communists is intended. Consider that the socialists, the communists, and the trade unions of the white race are all agitating for higher wages and better living conditions. It is evident that these economic improvements must only come at the greater expense of exploitation of the weaker people. The weaker people before they were Chinese, the East Indians, and the Negroes. The Chinese have organized a national resistance. The Indians have also organized a national resistance. Therefore, only the Negro who is exposed to the most ruthless exploitation is left to be exploited in the future. Surely the working class white man will stop at nothing to raise his stature even when under control of the government through communism, even though it crushes the Negro. Hence, the Negro must realize that he is being played for a sucker. What the Negro must do is to let the communists fight their own battles and stand back to watch the fight. The Negro must take advantage of the opportunities presented during the fight, but he must not join the fight as a communist because he will be helping to bear the brunt of the battle with no guarantee that his condition will get better, but obviously objectively worse because he will help and transfer the government to a more intelligent and cultural behavior to that of an ignorant, prejudiced, and most cruel. The man who fought your forefathers in Africa was not the white capitalist, but the white sailor who made a class man from whom the communists are made. He is dangerous to the Negro liberty as a common man and as an ignorant man. Never join him to destroy the intelligence that ruled the civilization that has given your existence up to the present time. Anytime you are asked to join this communist party by your communist associate or acquaintance, tell him when you get to Russia, but not before then. All right. That's a pretty short video on Marcus Garvey and his thoughts about communism. His explanation that communism is a white person vision and that the lower class of the Caucasian race, what they're trying to gun for, you know what I'm saying, have more of a prejudice, being the more prejudiced, the one to lead the lynch mobs and all type of stuff like that. Which you gotta make a pretty decent point, But the main point in this one, to me, the answers to make is the point that, never join in a fight. Your job is just to sit there and just watch it. Watch it just go down. You know what I'm saying? And even if you join these fights, them trying to prove the conditions and stuff like that, they're going to put you on the front line. And then there's no guarantee that you even going to get that from them. But yes, so you're going to fight to do the brunt of the battle, fight for them. So the main point he made, what the Negro must do is to let the communists fight their own battles and stand back and watch the fight. That's it. The Negro must take advantage of opportunities presented during the fight, but he must not join the fight as a communist because he will be helping bear the brunt of the battle with no guarantee his condition will get better, but objectively worse because he will help transfer the government from a more intelligent and cultural behavior to that of the ignorant, more prejudiced, and more cruel. And we've seen that with the purge and stuff like that and things of those nature. Anyway, much love to this ancestor. That's lesson number 17, communists. And then Marcus Garvey thoughts on communists. Subscribe to the channel. It's picking up pretty big. I'm very proud of that. I thank the ancestors for that. Keep on dropping this history. Gonna have a lot more things coming. Hey, y'all have a wonderful one. Peace.